share the screen. So, all right. So we'll probably start. So thank you for attending this live session, broadcasting on Facebook and Instagram every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Brisbane time. And tonight I'll be talking about the risks on working near roads or traffic and what controls we need to have in place to be safer. So working near or in proximity to traffic is a significant safety risk for those working on some infrastructure projects and the public, and it's critical that everyone is aware of safe working requirements. And usually the construction companies or the companies providing services in or around roads, their primary duty is to provide a safe workplace that minimizes the risk of injury for workers within or adjacent to a road area. And the Work Health and Safety Regulation 2011 defines construction work on or adjacent to a road as a high-risk construction work. And due to this nature of work being identified as high risk, those working in or adjacent to or on roads must take reasonable care for their own health and safety and that of others who may be affected by their actions or omissions, and must also comply with all safety policy and procedures. In a quiz now, did you know accurate data on road work crashes in Australia are lacking, but it is estimated that each year at least 50 deaths and 750 injuries occur to workers and the public in road worksite crashes with a cost of more than $400 million. Yes, so those injuries and death, they certainly cause a lot of damage to our economy. So when we are working near a road or near the traffic, what are the risks that are involved? Well, the most obvious hazards to workers undertaking construction work or maintenance activities on or adjacent to a road is the risk of death or injury resulting from coming into contact with traffic or moving plant. Some of the risks which may encounter work in this environment are slips, trips, and falls. You may have some uneven ground, exposure to excessive sun and heat. In Australia, we are certainly blessed to have very good sunshine, but it comes with a cost. We also exposed to fatigue and dehydration working on the road. The temperature outside could be 30, 35 degrees, but then working on or near the road could be 40, 45 degrees. Exposure to excessive noise, fumes, and dust. Certainly the traffic passing around, we've got the noise of the traffic, we've got the fumes of the exhaust systems of the vehicles, and certainly dust. We also are exposed to abuse from members of the public or motorist behavior. And we also have the risk of distracting or inconsistent layout of signs and devices. We also have the issue of visibility, shade, light, glare at different times of the day. Who never found yourself driving and then got the glare of the sun and you couldn't really see much in front of you? We also have the risk of encountering unauthorized persons or vehicles entering the work site. So usually when you're working on the road, you may have a lane taken out, and sometimes some drivers, they can enter in the dead lane and pose a hazard to your safety. So what would be the controls that we need to have in place when we are working around traffic or near the road? We've got to have careful consideration when implementing control measures for those working alongside the road corridor. Implementing control measures will eliminate or help minimize hazards or risks that workers, contractors, or members of the public may be exposed to. There are numerous ways to reduce the risks associated with working on roads or road-related areas. So, what are the controls that we need to have in place? We got to ask the question, can the task be done from within a vehicle? For example, taking photos, drive-through videos, etc. So workers, they don't need to be on the road or near the traffic. Communication. Do we need radios to ensure adequate communication over long work length or limited site? UHF radios, usually they are a good idea. If you have a spotter, just to keep an eye on the oncoming traffic, they can quickly tell you that a erratic car is coming, and you can then take some exit routes. Advance warning. Have we provided sufficient warning for motorists approaching the work site that people are working on or near the road, and that the road conditions may have changed? Usually when we are driving, we can see a lot of our road work signs, and their job is to let us know that there will be some traffic conditions changed ahead, so we can plan ourselves, we can take care when we are driving. Signage. Are the correct signs are displayed at the correct time? Our signs, those signs are in good condition, in class 1 retroreflectivity. So that's a very important thing. The signs, they need to be placed in the correct place, so they give enough distance for motorists to plan ahead and drive along the work site with due care. Another control that needs to be in place is, for example, PPE. Workers usually they wear high visibility clothing and ensure that an appropriate style is being worn. They, depending if you perform the work during the day or during the night. If it's at night, you certainly gotta have retroreflectivity type clothing, and that the clothing is in good condition. Sunscreen, UV safety glasses, broad brim hats, and steel cap safety boots are certainly advised. Traffic, and that clearance is sufficient, or other controls such as a speed reduction or barriers are in place. Although we tend to reduce the speed when we are delineating a work site, but not all, unfortunately, not all motorists, they reduce the speed. So we gotta make sure that there is enough clearance between the traffic, the passing traffic, and the workers on the work site. So when applying work zone separation, we're gonna ensure that other road reserve users, such as pedestrians and cyclists, they have been considered and appropriate controls have been put in place to allow their safe passage through or around the site. Use the pre-start to identify specific traffic hazards for the site and control measures. Do not become complacent or distracted when about working around traffic. Even though for those workers that they work every day around the traffic, they should not be complacent when working around traffic. If you need to walk near traffic, always have the oncoming traffic facing you. Do not walk with your back to the traffic so you can see the hazard coming. Do not have any entertainment devices and headset on at any time. Hearing warnings and horns are vital to your safety. Do not attempt to talk on the phone when you're working near or around traffic. Remove yourself to a safe place away from all traffic if you need to talk on the phone. Usually there are designated places on the work site where you can make a phone call or you can receive phone calls. If you need to cross the road, cross at the crossing when the pedestrian lights activate. And you should walk, do not run. Do not attempt to cross the road in high traffic areas at any time without using the designated pedestrian crossing area. And when we talk about multi-lane roads, so crossing those multi-lane roads, workers, they are prohibited from crossing a multi-lane highway as a pedestrian without adequate procedures in place where the speed limit is 100 kilometers an hour or greater. And adequate procedures must be considered and determined on the basis of a site-specific risk assessment in accordance with the requirement of the MUTCD Part 3, Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices, Part 3, which is works on roads. Well, that's all for tonight, guys. This toolbox talk about work near roads or near traffic, it's certainly very important, especially for a lot of people that are arriving in Australia and they are doing some courses to work as a traffic control. And usually in our countries of origin, the controls in place around working near roads or traffic, they could be different. So it's very important for us to get familiarized with the risks and the controls that we need to put in place, so we ensure that the safety is the utmost standard when you're working near roads. So I hope the information was useful, and I wish that you all stay safe. If you have any questions, can you please write in the comments? I'll just check quickly if there's any comment here on Instagram or Facebook. Yes, Anna in Facebook, she writes that she'd like to work with me one day. Who knows? She's studying for that. Yeah, Anna, I certainly encourage you to keep studying. And certainly the construction industry in Australia is very broad and very promising. There are a lot of work happening in construction, infrastructure, for also sort of engineers, for civil engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, chemical engineers, environmental engineers, production engineers. There's a whole lot of work here in Brisbane, in Sydney, in Melbourne. In Sydney and Melbourne, there's a lot of infrastructure projects happening, tunnels and roads. Here in Brisbane, there are a few jobs, major projects happening, and with some major projects with Brisbane Metro and Cross River Rail, there will certainly be a lot of opportunities for engineers. So I certainly encourage you to keep studying, to become an engineer here in Australia, and help to build this country even further. All right, as you know, I'm holding these live sessions every Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. Brisbane time. If you have suggestions for new topics or new subjects that you would like me to discuss every Tuesday, please leave in the comments. And if you're watching this video after the live, and if you have a suggestion of a different day or a different time that suits better the audience, please leave in the comments as well. Other than that, I thank you very much. Walter Monteiro, he thanks in Facebook as well. Thank you very much, Walter, for attending our live. And certainly we'll see you next Tuesday in Instagram or Facebook at 7 p.m. And this video, after editing, I'll put in my YouTube channel, Gerson Ida. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and it helped me to increase my channel and makes my video to reach more people. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.